Welcome to episode 44 of the Busted Buns Video Game Podcast, and I'm excited for every episode, but I'm definitely excited for this one because we're going to talk about one of my favorite Mario games ever, one of my favorite video games ever, all episode long. We are talking Super Mario Galaxy. We're going to talk about some really exciting stuff like the general info. That right there just blows you away. Then we're going to go into the gameplay, Galaxies, music. I'm getting confused with the name of the game and then actually what is in the game. But after Galaxies, we're going to go to music, then story, and then finish on reception and legacy. But first of all, some general info. 3D platformer, action adventure, 2007 release. Obviously it was published, well, you might not know, but it came out on the Wii and kind of just had this whole concept of, you know, being in space, having spherical, whatever the fucking word is, I don't know, platforms, and just overall a very cool game. The first Mario game, I believe, to use a symphony orchestra. Oh, the music. So, We'll talk about that in the music section. Just amazing music throughout the game. A critical and commercial success. I've not met one person that doesn't love this game right here. Sales of 12.8 million. That's a lot. You know, I'm not really sure when it comes to sales figure. What's actually a high figure? But 12 million. That is a lot of copies.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and then it came out in the Super Mario 3D All-Stars Collection on the Nintendo Switch. So right there, just let's get that general info out of the way. But that's just basically kind of going behind, like, you know, the scenes and like what the game actually was. But Red, the first thing that I want to talk about is gameplay, because that's really, when we're talking about Mario games, it's not going to be the story that sets it apart. It's going to be, you know, the gameplay or the world. So this one, just the gameplay was fantastic. So kind of just go into that and what you liked all about the gameplay.
Well, I love the setting. I mean, first and foremost, have it being set in outer space gave them such fun and so much creativity they could do with the galaxies and planets and the use of gravity. And to me, it really threw me off a little bit that you could run all the way around. Like you mentioned, those spherical, you know, the planets, the little planets that are inside each galaxy. Like you could run all the way around them and you'd be upside down or sideways. And so to me, the use of gravity in this game that they used with that outer space setting, I thought was so creative, and it let them do a ton of fun things just with the camera, with the controls, with the levels, just because being able to truly like run all the way around, like I said, these little planets, and then you jump from one to the next, and like gravity would flip you upside down and drop you on the next one. Oh my gosh. So to me, it was such a fun concept. Yes. Just to have gravity being used as like a gameplay mechanic.
And the fact that they made that concept work, like it seems like it's a very difficult concept to pull off, but like, you know, like most Mario games and like Nintendo, they made it like happen flawlessly. So I was very impressed with how the whole game worked.
Me too. And it made them like be able to create some like really unique and frankly sometimes confusing and disorienting galaxies where you're not 100% sure like where you're going, but you know the game does a great job, as almost all Mario games does a great job of like pointing you in the direction you need to be going, even when, like you said, you can get so topsy-turvy and upside down with the range of motion in this game, but the game still did an amazing job of kind of pointing you to make sure you always stayed on the right path. Or if you went off the path, usually you found like one of the secret stars or something in the galaxy. So all in all, like to me, that's what stands out the most is that outer space setting and that use of gravity. So what about the gameplay that jumped out most to you?
It was the controls. You were kind of getting to that, but just the fact that you're running around, you're going upside down, sideways and stuff. Like I just said, like earlier, that was a concept that seems very difficult, but they made so smooth. And when you were controlling, like it just worked. And I don't really know how to describe that because you're going upside down, sideways, and every which way, but you would think, oh man, this could be an easy way to completely screw up a game. But Nintendo, they nailed the controls out of the park, and kind of just reiterate some things you said because they're so important to me. Yeah, the whole game taking place in outer space. Just, I've talked about how much I love any game that takes place in outer space. I don't think enough games do it, but it's just kind of cool getting off land and kind of going to, like, you know, just the galaxies in outer space, just with all the stars, the planets and everything. It just looks cool, and just, I think it added to, like, you're on this, what's it called? The Comet Observatory. It's like, a spaceship, and it's all colorful and all this. And then you got this space background. It just made everything come together. Now, that's really not gameplay so much. But,
it's okay. It's okay.
just, I mean, I know I'm saying a lot of the same stuff that you said, but
I'm going to cut you off real quick. So speaking of that Comet Observatory, what did you think about that as a hub world? I mean, we got the hub world of like Peach's Castle in Mario 64. Yep. Did you like that they brought that back for Mario Galaxy?
I actually I love Peach's Castle in Super Mario. I think it's Peach's Castle in Super Mario 64. But to me, this hub world, this is where it's at for a Mario game. I don't really think we got that for Odyssey. I believe Odyssey was actually just the Odyssey as the hub world. But that is what, here's the thing. That is the hub world, the Comet Observatory, is everything that is right with Super Mario Galaxy, and it's everything that is wrong with Super Mario Galaxy 2. Like, right off the bat, getting into Super Mario Galaxy, which we're going to talk about Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the next episode, but just, I would say, like, what are your favorite things about this game? And there's a lot, because it's such a fun game. But that hub, the Comet Observatory, it was so much fun. It was beautiful. And it was just cool going to all these areas. It wasn't very big, but it was big enough. And so that, to me, it's really a part that stands out and just has a lasting memory, which is what, stands out kinds of means. Yep. But no, just there's not enough Mario games, I think, that have that. Like, we got in 64, we got in Galaxy, but other than that, we kind of had, we did have it in Super Mario Sunshine. I almost forgot about that game, because why you would need to remember that Mario game is beyond me. We'll talk about that someday, maybe. I don't even know if it's worth our time.
I got to play it first.
But just, just going around the observatory and going to all these different galaxies, and then, or domes. There were domes, and then we got in the domes, they had all these galaxies, but then just, once again, I'm going to get away from gameplay a little bit. Maybe we'll throw in graphics into gameplay. Just the way this game looked on the Wii, like, this pushed the Wii to its full potential. Like, the game looked, there's a lot of games on the Wii, because it wasn't HD, that kind of looked, it's still using that red, white, and yellow cable. Like, who the hell, like, at that time, it's like the 360 was out, I believe. The PlayStation 3 was out, and then you had this AC cord, or whatever it's called, RV cord, whatever it's called. And, like, a lot of games on the Wii just look kind of, but this game, it
looking at you, Skyward Sword.
Yeah. But it just took it to its full potential. And then,
I agree.
Oh my God, man, the Switch remake. This game was absolutely beautiful on the Switch remake.
It really
whereas the
was.
other two games, Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, those kind of just looked on the remake. But just, I know I've been kind of talking for a while, so I'm kind of sending you to the. Well, we are going to talk about the Galaxies. I don't know where you want to go exactly with gameplay, but pick a spot right now and go to it.
Well, first, I will mirror what you said, or echo what you said. I love the Comet Observatory as the hub world. I like, just like with Mario 64, where you got more stars, you unlocked more paintings, more floors. With the Comet Observatory, it was the same concept. Like, as you got the stars, you unlocked more domes, you unlocked more galaxies within the domes. And I really liked that they kind of upped the number of, I almost want to keep saying worlds, because I'm used to them all being worlds, but the number of galaxies, there were 42 galaxies, I think, in this game. And so when we get to Galaxies, we ain't talking about all 42.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
But I love that, just that concept that they borrowed, or they kept from Mario 64, just to be like, as you collect the stars, you open up more parts of the observatory, which opens up more galaxies. So I
love that the parts of the observatory were dark before you got to them. Like, it's like, okay, you can kind of see them, but they're dark, and then they light up. That was so beautiful as you got along into the game.
I thought it really was too. And with the 42 galaxies, you most of them you could, like, there were three stars that were easy to get, and then they would throw in some challenge stars or comet stars or secret stars. So all in all, I think there were 120. And then once you get them all as Mario, you could also go back and get them all as Luigi if you haven't already burned out on the game. But at that point, you might want to take.
You do burn out on the game, I can tell you that, because I got all 120 stars. I was like, I'll play as Luigi for a little while, which I say that like in every game where you can get Luigi, and I just never do it, because I run with him, and then he doesn't stop exactly where I want him to because of his traction. I'm like, I'm not messing with this shit right here. But kind of obvious stuff right here. Use the Wii Remote and Nunchuk, which, it was different for a Mario game. Like, we always had used button controls, and so using this whole motion control, like, that's a new concept. Just like Super Mario 64 being 3D was a new concept. So let's kind of, like, we got to mention that and not take away from the game. Like, this game was completely different when it came to the controls, and once again, they nailed it out of the park. And then, we got a lot of abilities that we've had in the past, like, long jump, wall jump, somersaults. Nothing to really say there. So then let's take it to the star pointer, which I thought was a great addition to the game, and use it for a couple different things. You could collect star bits.
You and me are going to disagree on this section.
Okay, well, it kind of got in your way. Okay, it's kind of it is a mouse pointer. It's what it is basically, but like, it's cool. I liked it. You could collect star bits or use them for the pull stars, and then also like the floating bubbles. But one thing that I really loved about this game was the star bits throughout, because it was one of those things that it gave you something to do throughout the game. Now, you are doing platforming, so you kind of are doing something throughout the game, but on the side above, wherever they were at in space, it gave you something to collect, and it just added color to the game, and they served a purpose, and you had to collect a lot of them to feed the hungry Lumas throughout the game to open up new galaxies. So, I mean, I think you had with the motion controls, you had to have some kind of pointer in the game, and so I think it just they could just like kind of left it there and not really used it, but they used it with a purpose, and I really enjoyed that. But obviously you don't like it that much, so kind of talk about the star pointer and why you don't like it that much.
It's not just the star pointer, it's all the motion controls, and I know we've kind of ragged on them in relation to Mario Galaxy, but it
was a fad, and that was a time period.
It really was a fad at the time, and of course Nintendo wants to show off its technology in its first party games. I totally get that, but the star pointer, I just wasn't a huge fan of. I agree, collecting the star bits was not a bad thing. Being able to shoot them to kind of stun enemies for a second was also not a bad thing, but having to shake the controller to do the spin attack, that was frustrating as hell. Trying to use the pointer to do the pull stars, or what are like the sticky bulbs that you kind of like slingshot yourself across like different gaps with. I struggled with that. Not just with the Wii, but also on the Switch version. Like, I had a hard time, even with the gyro controls on the Pro Controller, like being accurate with that. And man, there were a couple courses where they just take those motion controls to like the absolute extreme, and not necessarily in a good way. And it became more, and like I said, we love this game. We both do. So I hate to, I'm not going to bash on it much, but the controls were one of the only aspects of this game that I was so just turned off by the motion controls. And like I said, I get it. And Nintendo wants to show off their technology in their first party games. Completely understand that. I wish they could have found a better solution on the Switch remake, but that would have involved totally maybe rebuilding a lot of the game. And that they're not all about that. So, so to me, like, they weren't horribly implemented. I mean, they were done in a way that made sense. I will absolutely say it, like using it for the pull stars and for the star pointer, that made sense. It did make sense. Execution of motion controls in general are just a little off, man. But at least they gave you, especially on the Switch, and I can't remember if it was the same way on the Wii, like you can recenter that pointer anytime you want just by hitting the R button.
And I did it a ton on the Switch. Not so much with the Wii remote, you could point a little bit better. So like I didn't do too much with that one, but with the Switch one, I was recentering like crazy. But I don't know. I guess, I'm not a huge fan of motion controls, but I think obviously they had to use them with the Wii. And I don't know, I disagree. Like, I think they did really well with it. So, I mean, I think you think they did well. You're just not a fan. I'm not a huge fan, but it's like, okay, if that's what it's going to be, I thought they did a really good job with it. But
they used it in a way that made sense. I will say that. It just, motion controls for me are
I mean, but you kind of talk about the spin, but, it was used for attacks and stuff. But, like, I mean, it did so many other things. Like, it worked with sling stars and launch stars. You could climb vines, ice skating, like, I think you could unscrew bolts and also
I liked that. Turn gears, things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it was cool that it's a pain in the butt, but it served a purpose, and like you could do other things. Like, I remember one thing that really, the ice skating really didn't make sense. I guess, like, you spin no, it doesn't make sense. Like, you spin and you start skating. No, you don't see figure skaters doing that. Like, that's not how they start. So, like, that didn't make sense. But the climbing the vines, like when you're swinging around them and going up them, I thought shaking the remote right there made a lot of sense. The sling stars and the launch stars, whatever. Unscrewing bolts, moving the Wii remote kind of made a little bit of sense. But, you also use it for surfing and bouncing on top of that golf ball, which I thought was an amazingly fun level. So I really enjoyed that.
We'll talk about those for sure. I completely agree that like some of the surfing, like
that was fun.
Like I said, the bouncing on top of the ball, like things like that where I thought were where they really did a great job with the motion controls. So there were a few areas that, I thought they really did add to it. I completely agree with you there. And the spin, I liked that it was more than just an attack. Like you mentioned,
definitely.
all the different things that they use the spin for, and whether it was shaking the remote or just pressing Y, I believe, on the Nintendo Switch version. Like either way, I'm glad that they found a lot of different creative ways to do the spin attack. But along with the spin attack, we also got a lot of power-ups.
Yes.
And things like that throughout the game. I liked how we had a variety of them because we had 6 or 7 different power-up, or 9, I think. Actually, I think there were 9 power-ups.
Yeah.
And some of them only got used a couple of times, which I thought was a little weird. But man, I loved things like the fire flower and the ice flower, like being able to throw fireballs or being able to walk on water or lava with the ice flower. Those were 2 of my favorite power-ups. What were some of the ones that jumped out the most for you?
Okay, first of all, you had the rainbow star, which is basically just a star, so whatever. I don't know why the hell it's a power-up. That's just a freaking star. But, I really like the bee, actually. Like, just being able to float around. Now, the time that it could hover really pissed me off. But, if you had some platforms, like I believe there's a water level or I believe it's like a water slide galaxy where you can use that bee and kind of like, climb levels, and you could get pretty high. So I really like the bee. The boo, I wasn't too big on the boo. I don't even remember what it did, to be honest with you.
Oh, you just turned into a ghost.
Yeah, I knew it's fucking called a boo. I knew that part of it, but I'm talking about the mechanics and what it actually did. And then
you could fly and you could disappear and go through bars.
Okay, that was, that it was used very sparingly, obviously, because I only had a couple functions. So, that one, whatever. The spring, love-hate relationship with that damn spring.
Yes.
Like, it was so cool. It was so fun to bounce in it, but damn, it was so hard to control. And a lot of times you couldn't get the bounce you wanted because you had to hit the button right when you landed. So that one, the spring, absolutely loved it. Absolutely hated it. Like the bee in the spring. Did you like either one of those any at all?
So the spring, I completely agree with you that it was fun and some of the jumps were awesome, but damn, it could be frustrating.
Yeah.
Because you never go quite the direction, like the controls with it were a little less precise, which I think is on purpose. You kind of spring the way you're facing. And I struggled with that, but it was a fun power up. And it's kind of funny. I was playing one of the Galaxies. I forgot the name of it, and I was actually just playing it a few minutes before we started this podcast.
Oh man, there's only 42 that you got to remember. I mean, how you gonna forget them?
And man, in the spring, heavily played into it for one of the first times in the game, and I'm like, man, I can't hit anything that I'm trying to hit here.
Tough.
But it was a fun concept. And the bee, I'm with you. I liked the way they used the honeycombs that you could climb with the bee, and then of course. Being able to hover, I completely agree. I wish you could hover a little bit longer, but all in all, I thought it was a fun idea. Again, not one we got to use all that much throughout the game, but kind of going along with the power-ups. We also get the regular stuff we get in the Mario games. You got the life mushroom, which gives you a whole new circle of life. 3 more hits. You get the 1-ups, of course, that have been in every game since the original.
Now, I want to say something in this game. You could get a lot of lives, which I'm absolutely a huge fan of that because there's nothing more I hate than starting over. Now, I'm not sure in Galaxy how it kind of worked when we ran out of lives, which it wasn't really a big problem because those star bits, like you get 50 coins, which awesome. I don't know why they didn't make it 100, but 50 coins or 50 star bits gave you an extra life. So you could rack up on that. Now, I will say something. If you all don't know, if you're playing the Switch remake and you go from Super Mario Galaxy to Super Mario 64, you will lose all the lives that you fucking built up that entire time. That is bullshit, Nintendo. How the hell I worked up to 99 lives. How the hell you going to take away 94 lives just because I wanted to go check out? Actually, I don't even think I played a game. I think I went and checked out a soundtrack. So, just any of you all playing Super Mario 3D All-Stars on the Switch, do not switch between games because you may lose your life. Nintendo, you really impressed me a lot of times, but you did not impress me there. But
no, you're absolutely right. And it's like anytime you close out of that game, it resets your lives back to 4 or 5, whatever it is. And that is frustrating because if you have 30, 40, or in your case, 99 lives, and I get a lot of people, if you're only playing one game, will just put the game on standby. You won't even you won't even close the game out. You'll just put it on standby, and it's not a big deal. But if, like you said, if you flip over to check out a different game, or you flip over to check out a soundtrack. Boom, there goes 90 lives.
Yep.
So I'm with you. That was an annoyance. But man, we're 20 minutes in and we haven't even touched the Galaxies themselves. I think that's where we should go next. As we mentioned, well, I guess I should say, is there anything else on the gameplay or controls that you want to talk about?
No, I just want to say, like, I don't remember if that health system, like, where it's 3 hits. I don't remember if that was introduced in Galaxy or not, but just the whole health system and, like, diving underwater, how you got the bubbles, like, to improve, like, your air meter, I believe it was called. But just that, like, the whole thing and then how easy it was to get lives. I just liked how they did the whole health concept and everything like that. So I was just a big fan. But no, we can go on to the Galaxies, and we really didn't talk behind the scenes how we're going to go about this. But I can tell you right now, that we are not going to talk about every single galaxy in this game. So even though, Red, I know you were talking just a second ago, I don't really know where I want to start off at all. So let's go ahead and go through, like, I guess the domes. Let's go through the domes, and let's not mention every single galaxy, but let's kind of highlight the ones, like, that we liked or maybe that stood out a little bit more to us. So go ahead and start off with the Terrace. What galaxies in that dome impressed you?
So the one that jumped out to me the most, and we mentioned like the motion controls being used for surfing, the loop-de-loop galaxy where you get to surf on a manta ray or a stingray, that one is absolutely the galaxy that jumped out to me from the Terrace. The Terrace is the first dome you get to, so the galaxies were a little, kind of generic. They were very much introductory, making sure you understand the concepts and the controls and everything like that. But the loop-de-loop galaxy, and this is going to be a trend all throughout this, I love the water galaxies.
Yes.
Just like I love the water worlds in Mario 64 and Mario Odyssey. I love the water levels. So the loop-de-loop galaxy is the one from the Terrace that really jumped out to me. And the boss fight was kind of fun at Bowser Jr.'s robot reactor, just because you got to like climb all the way to the top of the boss. So those were the two elements of the Terrace that really jumped out to me. So what about you?
I'm not gonna lie, behind the scenes, I was trying to bring it to the bosses, first of all, just in case I need to mention them. And that was also, when I threw it to you, I was gonna try to look at the galaxies because I need some pictures just to remind me. But I didn't get to, by the time you threw it to me, I didn't have my pictures up. So I'm gonna try to remember off the top of my head. Yeah, the loop-de-loop I did like. The flip switch was one, just those like 1-star galaxy, so whatever.
Yeah.
The honey hive, I can't picture it exactly in my head. Oh yeah,
that's where we got the bee suit for the first time.
Here's the thing. I talk about water a lot in games and just how all games, I feel like water is the one area where each game looks different on how they do their water effects. Yep. And like when you get to Honey Hive, that I believe is the first place where you see water, like right before that hill. And oh my God, man, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. And like that's
it does.
It might seem like a small thing to some people, but it stands out to me a lot. So right off the bat, like that, I believe that was the second one. So I really like that one right there, but let's kind of go ahead and take it to the Fountain Dome. And first of all, that Fountain Dome, that place looked absolutely beautiful. Just you got the fountain kind of going around it, the little circle pool, and then you got the fountain coming out. So that dome right there, probably second dome, my favorite looking dome, even though you don't spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time getting to the galaxies in them, but just overall, it looked very, very beautiful. But kind of rolling through, there's only a 1-star galaxy, but the rolling green. We've talked about this where you jump on top of that ball and you roll around and you kind of just go through the whole area, try to actually avoid the holes, which is what you would think you would not. Actually, I believe you actually at the end you did go through the hole.
Very end.
Yeah, and it dropped you down, but you tried to dodge things as you were going along. But right there, just a good use of the motion controls, even though we may not have been a big fan of it, but I really liked the rolling green. The fountain and its galaxies. Did you have any that stood out for you or that you liked?
Well, I agree on the rolling green galaxy. It felt like a game of mini golf. You even had the giant windmill there at the end of it. Yep. So, I was a fan of the rolling green galaxy. The hurry scurry galaxy I liked because as the platforms disappear, it gave you a feeling of it's a very intense level. Like you've got some pressure on you to get to the end. So, but there is something I want to hit on real quick because you've mentioned it a couple of times and you almost say it like it's a bad thing, like the 1-star galaxies. You almost kind of be like, it's just a 1-star galaxy. To me, I thought those had some of the most unique challenges because each of those galaxies was built around one specific gameplay element. So I actually was a huge fan of the 1-star galaxies in general because every one I feel like threw something at you that maybe wasn't really anywhere else in the game. And so you'll hear me probably be a little more enthusiastic about the 1-star galaxies than you, but getting back to just the fountain, like I said, it was a beautiful area. The rolling green galaxy was a ton of fun. Bowser's Star Reactor, our first Bowser level.
Yep.
I love, and we can probably hit on this in the music section, but I loved how they brought back the Bowser level theme from Mario 64 and while you're trying to get to Bowser. So I love that they brought that theme back. As for the rest of it, even the Bowser fights themselves, not that great. So kind of jumping on to the kitchen.
I like the Bowser fights, man. I'm not going to lie. Okay, first of all, you get that first Bowser stage. And I absolutely love this. The Super Mario 64 theme they brought over into Galaxy.
Yes.
So that was awesome. And then also the platforming, it felt a lot like the Super Mario 64 levels. I think I'm talking about the first two here because the final Bowser stage, I believe, had a different theme. It does. I played through it today.
Yep.
It has a different theme, and then also the platforming just feels a little different. But just the whole backdrop, the platforming, and then the theme, those first two Bowser levels, which is like actually the second and fourth dome.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy those a lot right there. But I think you were going to the kitchen, weren't you?
Yep.
Okay, first of all, the Beach Bowl Galaxy. Not one of my favorite Galaxies. But just the way that thing looked. I mean, okay, you're going into a galaxy and it's just like overflowing with water. So right off the bat, that one just not my favorite, but you know what? I don't know if it's gorgeous, my favorite, but yeah, it's gorgeous. And we kind of go back to that whole water concept. Like we just love, like going around water. Water scenery is beautiful. So when you add that in, like it just looks amazing. And I'm kind of looking through them right here. Ghostly Galaxy. I'm never a big fan of the ghost levels in Mario games, and this one kind of goes along that same path. Like, really, there was nothing wrong with it, but just didn't really stand out for me. But the Bio Base, or whatever it's called, Galaxy.
Buoy.
Buoy. Come on, I got college education, but it obviously was not in English, you all. So just every once in a while, I'm just going to get a word wrong, and that was one of them. Yep. I mean, it does look like buoy if you look at it. I guess I've actually never seen that word spelled out in my life. But anyways, that's not important whatsoever. But just, okay, you kind of go back with the buoy-based Galaxy. It looks a lot like the Beach Bowl, but the platforming and going up, like, that tall platform and delivering the verticality like that right there. That was a very fun Galaxy. Overall, in the, what are we on? The kitchen? What Galaxies did you like?
Well, I thought the kitchen overall was one of the strongest domes. Like, I have strong feelings of one of them's not a good strong feeling, but about all the levels in the kitchen, or Galaxies. Like you said, the Beach Bowl Galaxy, just absolutely beautiful. You're on the beach. You've got the ocean. You get to go underwater. You also get to platform above it a little bit. Using the shells to swim, I thought was such a fun gameplay element that we didn't really touch on. The Ghostly Galaxy, I'm kind of a little different from you in that I normally enjoy the haunted or the ghost levels, especially the music. I feel like they always have a music.
The music was good.
Yeah. So for me, I've always enjoyed the ghost levels going back to Mario 3. And, and then I thought Boo's Mansion in Mario 64 was great. And I thought Ghostly Galaxy just kind of continued that trend. They just feel so different from every other galaxy in the game. The buoy-based Galaxy, I'm really glad you touched on that because I thought it was some of the best platforming in the game. Just getting to the top of that tower, not only getting to the top of it, but also trying to find, you had to find 5 of the blue star bits or gold star bits, one or the other, while you're climbing it. So I love the buoy-based Galaxy. The Bubble Breeze Galaxy, though, I completely hated. I hated using the motion controls to, Mario gets in a bubble and you have to move him above a poison swamp. I hated using the motion controls to blow that bubble. To me, that was one of the bad uses of the motion controls. And then Bowser Jr.'s Airship Armada, I've always been a big fan of those airships in Mario games. So to me, all in all, I thought the kitchen was one of the strongest of the domes. Then you get to the bedroom, and I felt like we regressed just a little bit. But before I jump into it, I'll let you hop in. What did you love about the Galaxies in the bedroom?
I was really a big fan of the Gusty Garden Galaxy. Usually those garden ones, I'm kind of like, whatever. I don't really care for those levels too much. But you add those flowers that had a lot of color, and then you add it's kind of open. It's in outer space, so it's kind of open space. But just using those flower petals or whatever to fly to the different areas. Yeah, I thought I wasn't a huge fan of that galaxy, but it looked very beautiful and flying around on flowers. That was definitely a unique concept. So that was fun. The Freeze Flame Galaxy, just a really cool concept. How you kind of combine ice and fire into one galaxy. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the same time, we're in outer space. The physics and science and everything, it's a little bit different. So, I guess in some galaxy or universe, maybe that could possibly work. I don't know exactly. I can't really give it a good example of that. So, that one, like, not my favorite, but like, I did enjoy it, but the Dusty Dune Galaxy, like that is one right there that I really, really enjoyed. We're always a huge fan of desert places, whether it's in Zelda or Mario, but you land there, you see all the sand around you, boom, that theme hits you right off the bat. It's a beautiful theme. And then I'm going to mention something that we never talk about, the verticality of that galaxy, like climbing that humongous platform. And I remember when I was playing the Switch version, I took a picture looking all the way down, and that thing is high. So in the bedroom, Dusty Dune Galaxy, like that was probably my favorite. What were your favorites, and what did you not like, or what did you like, and what did you not like? I will get there.
We'll get there. No, I actually generally agree on all of these. Like the Gusty Garden Galaxy, I mean, we've talked about in our Zelda videos in the past how much we kind of love the wind concept. Things like the Wind Palace, the House of Gales, things like that. And this kind of took a little bit of that concept where, like you said, you're riding like a petal of a flower and you get in these wind gusts. And I thought it was really well done. Other than that, I do agree it's kind of a bland level. It's just like you said, it's just a garden, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it like that concept is something that, we've talked about enjoying and maybe not being used enough going all the way back to our Zelda days. So I'm with you on Gusty Garden Galaxy. Freeze Flame, and I always want to say Freeze Frame, but Freeze Flame Galaxy, I thought it just looked beautiful because of the contrast of the fire and ice. Like it popped to me. And again, I'm going back to Zelda, but I remember the ice ruins in a Link Between Worlds, where you're in the ice, but you're looking down and you can see the lava all the way at the bottom.
Yes.
So I love that. To me, is always popped when you get that blue and red beside each other. So I loved the Freeze Flame Galaxy, and I thought that like some of the ice and fire mechanics were well done. I mentioned back in the gameplay section that I liked the ice flower and the fire flower, and this is really where they got to shine. So I was a big fan of Freeze Flame. Dusty Dune Galaxy, I mean, you hit it. First of all, it's a great throwback to the Dry Desert from Mario 64.
Yes.
And that first star, like you said, just platforming to the top of that tower was so much fun. Like you're riding like these little mini like sand tornadoes, and then you're doing like a bunch of wall jumps and things like that. So to me, that platforming and that verticality, like you said, was really well done. So those three absolutely stood out to me. Again, Bowser's Dark Matter plant, similar to the Star Reactor.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You got the great theme, you got the great platforming leading up to a solid Bowser fight. Again, nothing that really jumps out, but again, that theme really stuck out for me. So the bedroom, I thought, really knocked it out of the park. There were some great ones in the bedroom, but what do you think about
you just said a little while ago that you thought the bedroom took a step back. So which is it, man?
I did say I thought it regressed a little bit, and then I'm like, well, after going through these, I'm like, oh, fuck, they were all pretty awesome. Never mind.
Good thing I caught that, but let's go ahead and move.
Way to call me out on that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move to the engine room, and right off the bat, the Gold Leaf Galaxy. Probably the most beautiful looking galaxy in the game. Always a huge fan of the fall foliage. You didn't really get it in this galaxy much, but it definitely had that fall feel with the orange leaves, the orange tree and everything. So that one, and like I talked about the water earlier in the Honey Hive Galaxy or whatever. Like the Gold Leaf Galaxy is very similar in that it has a hill and then water at the bottom, but just for some reason, like the water being in all that orange color, it just made that water really stand out and look beautiful. So Gold Leaf Galaxy, don't really remember playing through it that much, even though I played Galaxy not too long ago, but I do know that it looks absolutely beautiful. The Sea Slide Galaxy, that's just... Once again, water scenery is beautiful, but that's just really cool. And you actually didn't ride the Ray on this one. You kind of just went around a lot as the Bee, I believe, but just like, very very simple. Like, it's just water going around basically that you can swim through.
The Sea Slide Galaxy had the races.
Yeah, but then there was also some high platforming that you had to do. So that was very, very cool right there. Bonefin Galaxy, not even going to waste my time with that one. Toy Time Galaxy, that was so cool, man. Like, you go into this galaxy that's in a bedroom and there's a bunch of toys and you kind of just go around, obviously collecting the stars, but that is just one of those really unique concepts. Like, a lot of it had been like outdoor scenery and stuff, like, oceans, forests, whatever. And then you get to this like bedroom and all these toys, and I was a really big fan of that one. What about you?
So I'm completely with you on Gold Leaf Galaxy. It was just a beautiful level. I mean, it wasn't the best level in terms of the actual, platforming and adventuring, but it was an absolutely stunning level. Like you said, with the fall colors, the trees, everything, the water running through it. Absolutely agree 100%. The Sea Slide Galaxy, I just love the races. Like the first star you had to follow, like you had to stay behind what they call the guppy and get the 6 rings, and then you actually did the penguin race. And I just loved the water races. Like you basically just grab a shell and just try to beat them along this big loop. So I love the Sea Slide Galaxy, similar to the Manta surfing earlier in the game. But yeah, like I said, you're just grabbing onto a shell and racing them underwater. And then, like you said, you throw in a little bit of the platforming once you actually get out of the water. So all in all, Sea Slide Galaxy was a great one. Toy Time Galaxy,
I like how I asked you about Toy Time Galaxy, and then you went to go leave and start talking about that.
I thought you were talking about all of them here.
I guess it could be interpreted differently. I just didn't think you were paying attention to me at all, but go ahead.
Nope, I was paying attention. I just thought you meant the engine room in general.
I can see that.
So the Toy Time Galaxy, I'm a little more hit or miss on than you. Like, it has some really good platforming, but man, some of the gravity shifts and things like that kind of threw me off on that one. But I do love how I feel like that was kind of an inspiration for Ribbon Road in Mario Kart 8.
Yes.
Because it's all toy based. So for me, Ribbon Road was one of my favorite tracks in Mario Kart 8. So because of that, I'll always appreciate, Toy Time Galaxy. Bonefin Galaxy I actually kind of enjoyed. It was a challenge trying to kill that Bonefin, but man, Red Shells definitely helped.
Yeah.
So all in all, I thought the engine room also was very solid. Just all of them had something going for it.
And it was cool going up to in the hub also, because you're kind of on that main level the entire time in the Comet Observatory, and you kind of go up higher. So just that right there was very cool. But kind of going to what's the next one? The Garden. The Garden, I was not prepared. Yeah. Okay, first of all, Dreadnought. Like, that is so cool looking, but damn, I remember struggling on that Galaxy. So, I guess I was a fan overall of that Galaxy. Just something that, okay, yeah, it's a Mario game that takes place in outer space, but as I kind of mentioned a little while ago, you're getting your same, landscape sceneries, your water, your forest, things like that, your desert. But then you get to Dreadnought, and it's this completely different Galaxy concept. I really like that one. The Deep Dark Galaxy, no, I was not a fan of that. I believe it had the ship at the bottom. I can't remember exactly.
Underground ghost ship was in that one,
I don't know exactly what Deep Dark was trying to be. It kind of feels like it was trying to be one of those ghost levels, and just it kind of struck out for me. So I wasn't a huge fan of that one. But the Melty Molten Galaxy, that one, oh my god, first of all, that was absolutely beautiful, and I know you're probably a fan because you love the fire levels in Zelda games
they always look beautiful.
lot, because that color, it kind of stands out a lot, and then you put that color against a black outer space, it just looked gorgeous, and it was a ton of fun. And I remember when you would go to those launch stars, and it was okay. First of all, here's one reason why the launch stars were so cool is how they sent you through space flying, and the animations that came along with that. And the Melty Molten Galaxy had some of those fantastic animations. I can remember one where you were flying 6 feet above the lava the entire way. Then you're getting shot up inside a volcano. You're dropping down the volcano. And you're getting shot this way. So that right there, it was just a very fun Galaxy. Overall, what Galaxies did you like, and what's your opinions of the Garden Dome?
Well, I'll completely agree. I thought the Dreadnought Galaxy just looked awesome. It was a great concept. And again, it's another one of those that looked great. Maybe some of the action wasn't my favorite, but the concept was absolutely gorgeous. And you're right, Melty Molten Galaxy, the fire and the lava, man, they're always great spots for me. You get the volcano, again, kind of like the sand one we talked about earlier. It was a great throwback to Lethal Lava Land from 64, which so to me, that one always really stood out. I'm kind of with you. Deep Dark Galaxy, Matter Splatter Galaxy, just kind of there for me. So kind of go into the Comet Observatory galaxies. These are the ones where you mentioned we had to feed the Lumas all those star bits. I will be perfectly honest, only one of them really jumped out to me as one that I loved, and that was the Big Mouth Galaxy. And why I loved it is it looked like a largemouth bass. The whole galaxy looked like a giant statue of a largemouth bass, and the whole idea was just to get a gold shell, and bring it all the way back to the beginning of the level. And so of the Comet Observatory galaxies, that's the only one that really stuck in my mind. What about you?
Well, considering the fact that I don't mention them or know them, and once again, I was trying to bring it up behind the scenes. I was like, because I think I thought that we talked about some of them, or folks, what's going on here is I have an outline, and I'm on a website that's completely different from my outline, so I'm trying to remember which ones are which, and I guess I'm looking through them. They don't stand out that much to me, I guess what I'm trying to say, because if they did, I would remember them. So I really don't have much to say because I'm not getting the images. You would think, not playing the game that long ago, that these would stick in your head. But once again, there's 42 galaxies, so they really don't. But so I don't really have much to say.
That's why I said only one of them really stood out for me. Yeah. They weren't that special.
Yeah, they're not really clicking for me right there. But I will go to the trials because there's a couple things I want to say on the trial galaxies because I do have those pulled up and I know what they are. First of all, the rolling gizmo galaxy, that one right there, just it kind of went along with the rolling green, just like rolling on the ball, kind of going through that whole obstacle. I really love that one. And then the Loop-de-Swoop Galaxy, which did we talk about that?
No, we didn't.
Okay. The Loop-de-Swoop Galaxy, which, is where you surf on the ray. Like, that one's very cool. And obviously what I love about it kind of goes to the name. There's a watered loop in it. That is freaking awesome right there. So those are two of the trials that stood out for me. I believe the trials were the green stars, where you had to find Luigi in a level, and then you got green star, and that's what sent you to the trial galaxies. Not really positive on that right there, but is there anything that you want to say on those?
Not really. I know, like you said, you had to find special green challenge stars to unlock the trial galaxies. I never really did them, so I can't really say anything about them. But it's funny because you said Loop-de-Swoop. Did we already talk about it? There's a Loop-de-Loop galaxy.
Yeah, okay. That's where I was getting confused.
And if I think I read that the only way to get the grand finale galaxy is to get all 120 stars with Mario and then get all 120 stars with Luigi. So I don't know if I'll ever see that. Maybe one day.
I won't. And I kind of do want to apologize to everybody. I usually try to get prepared a little bit more, but that whole Comet Observatory Galaxies, I was hoping that you wouldn't throw it to me, but just my outline is different from the websites I'm looking at. I just cannot get those images right now, so I'm going to skip over that. But anyways, that was the Galaxies. Kind of touched on the ones that we didn't touch on all of them. We weren't going to have the time to do that, but touched on a lot of them. Obviously, the world. It's
an hour and a half long podcast if we touched on all of them.
yeah. The world is what makes the worlds is what really makes a Mario game, along with the gameplay. But we want to talk about music very, very quickly because it's something it's okay in Mario games, but this was the first game that used a orchestra symphony or symphony orchestra, whichever way it's announced. But I just thought the music in this game, to me, stands out so much more than other Mario games. And that's because an orchestra symphony, God, now I'm confusing myself, man, because it's you can use them separately, but it's also used together. So it's kind of which way you want to do it. But I thought it really made this game stand out from other Mario games. And I didn't know if an orchestra would work for a Mario game, but I think you kind of put it in that space concept. And I don't know, it just works. And a lot of times I'll go back on YouTube and just I'll put in Galaxy relaxing music and just the game, the theme and the soundtrack, it just really worked well for this game. What's your opinions on the music?
I completely agree. I think the music pops so well in this game. And a big part of it is they took a lot of samples from former Mario games. You will hear a lot of pieces of former Mario game themes. And then, like you said, they apply, something like a 50-person orchestra to perform it. Mm-hmm. And, for most of the levels, it's kind of background music. But man, when you get some of the boss fights and that orchestra really ramps up, especially the final Bowser fight, the music is it feels really epic. And we always talk about that with boss fights, is how much better they are when you have music that really hits home, the gravity of the fight, So for me, I agree. The music is one of the strongest elements of this game. Some of the strongest music in any Mario, I almost said Zelda there, in any Mario game. So for me, I absolutely agree. I love the music. I loved how they reused some themes from prior games, but also gave them their own new spin, especially with that symphony. So I'm with you there. Story, there ain't much to talk about. Story, it's a Mario game.
It's a better story than the other Mario games, really. In my opinion, first of all, usually in Mario games, you just get an animation, a cutscene, and then you just go right into the game. I love how this game dropped you at the Star Festival, and then you kind of get to walk through that. The whole Star Festival is a thing where they watch a comet in the Mushroom Kingdom. But I believe Mario's going there because Princess Peach discovers a Luma and she invites him to see him. So that's why everything's happening. And then you get there and of course Bowser shows up. He's got his airships. He takes the castle away. So the story's not that strong, but overall I do feel like it was a better story than most Mario games. But kind of you all know the story, but so we won't really harsh on it too much. But basically, you go and you meet Rosalina and the Lumas. You kind of put everything together, get the Comet Observatory working. You go to the center of the universe, you fight Bowser, bam, the ending. So, not really a lot to it, but I don't know, just kind of
I will say I liked how we got Rosalina's backstory.
Yes.
Like you get they have these storybooks that she reads, and you unlock chapters as you go. So you do get to learn a little bit of the history of the Lunas.
Reading. It was okay. Go ahead.
of like the Lumas, of Rosalina, and of the Comet Observatory. So I thought, we did get a nice little backstory to that as well. I'm a fan of Rosalina's character.
Agreed.
I hope we get her in more stuff than just like Mario Kart and the sports games. It seems like is the only other games that she's appeared in. So I liked her character. I hope we get to see her a little bit more. But, like I said,
it just had more substance because you had Peach, you had Bowser Jr., you had Rosalina, you had the Lumas, and then you had it all taking place in and then you had it all taking place in outer space. So not a huge story, but I thought it was a very good story. But is there anything else you want to say?
No, other than just to move on, man, what an amazing game it was. And you see it with the reception that this game got. I mean, I think it's sitting at, a 97 on Metacritic. And your note says it's the 6th highest rated game on there. And that is insane. And I know Metacritic doesn't have every single game ever made, but damn.
They have a lot.
That is impressive. They do have a lot, and that is impressive. The visuals, were all praised, like we talked about, the gravity mechanics, the soundtrack, just, and it sold so well early on. And like I said, 12 million in sales to date, plus I don't even know if that counts the 3D All-Stars or not.
Well, that just came out, so it probably doesn't count a lot of that if it does count.
Right. So all in all, man, I think it's deserving of all the accolades, Game of the Year back in 2007 from a lot of publications. Do you think it's deserving of all that acclaim?
Oh, definitely, because it's like, it's a Mario game, which is always great, but just the whole you've talked about most of this. We've talked about most of this period in the episode, but just, the whole outer space was cool. The music that came along with it, the gravity mechanics, I thought the bosses were okay. And then the galaxies, the visuals of the galaxies and just how they were presented and everything, it was just a very fun game. It's my second favorite Mario game behind Odyssey. So, that says a lot about the game right there. And then it also received a sequel, Super Mario Galaxy 2, which we will talk about that in the next episode. But just, I don't think there's a lot of Mario games that did get a sequel. So, for this game to get a sequel, even though that sequel was, I think that says a lot about the game. But I can say that when I was going back and playing on the Switch in the last couple of months, I really, really enjoyed it. And it kind of gets back to that whole, all video games are fun. But then you get those games, that are just a ton of fun. And you cannot put them down. And while I was going back and playing Mario Galaxy before I had next-gen systems, because now I don't have the time for the Nintendo Switch now. But before that, because I'm a next-gen snob, like I said. But, first of all, the Switch remake, the graphics looks absolutely beautiful on the system. But like I said, kind of just, I know I'm repeating this, but it was just such a fun game. And it kind of goes back to what Mario is, and having Sunshine before this game, which to me, Sunshine is one of the worst 3D Mario games ever. It probably is the worst Mario 3D game ever. And then to kind of come back to this, and I know we're both not fans of the motion controls, but the fact that they had to use them, and I think they implemented them very well. Just overall,
they made sense.
The game was just so strong. But we'll go ahead and kind of wrap up. As we said, we will talk about Super Mario Galaxy 2 the next episode. We like to talk about the games back to back if there are sequels in the franchise. We really don't want to talk about it. We don't know. We're going to go pull out, I guess, our Wii U's to play it because it's not available. So we're going to have to figure out how we even are going to play it. If we are going to play it at all, we're going to watch YouTube videos. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We have both played it before. We will talk about it. But anyways, Red, let's go to the wrap up. All the links for this stuff will be in the description, but you can support us on Patreon or PayPal. If you can't support us financially, please leave a review or a rating. That helps us out with rankings when people search for certain terms. And please go check out our TGPC Gaming website. We have some good blogs on there. And then we have got our that's not important because our podcasts are other places. And we also have video gaming products. That is an affiliate shop, so we may earn a commission on purchases through our links. But Red, kind of go ahead and talk about some of the other stuff we got going on.
Well, we're on YouTube at TGPZ Gaming and Two Guys Playing Zelda. Check out our videos there. Discord is really where our conversation's at. We love our Discord server, our Discord channels. We talk Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, sports, alcohol, just TV shows. We talk everything on Discord. We've got a great group there. We have a ton of fun, so check us out there. On social media, we are on Twitter and on Instagram at Busted Buttons PC. As you said, next episode is going to be Mario Galaxy 2.
I'm not really excited for it either, man.
But this was a blast talking about Mario Galaxy, the original, which is one of our favorite games, not just in the Mario franchise, but just favorite games in general. An amazing platformer that got a second life on the Switch. I had a blast talking about it with you today, and we'll be back next episode with Mario Galaxy 2.